Hey guys, so today we're still going to continue talking about similar polygons, similar figures, right? But this time we're actually going to be finding missing sides. All right, so let's jump right into it. So some of our problems today are actually going to be a little bit more challenging, kind of taking it to the next level. Your triangles aren't going to be separated. What you're actually going to see is sometimes you'll get triangles that are overlapping, literally right on top of each other. So there are going to be cases where we are going to have to split it up. Sometimes one of them is upside down, reverse, they're kind of touching, but they are similar triangles. And so that's what I want to focus on today, being able to take on those situations. So example number 1 here says solve for x and y. So I have two sides here that I need to figure out. And these are similar. Again, these are similar figures. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to solve for x first. So I'm going to write solve for x. Okay, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to write a proportion. We're going to set two fractions equal to each other, comparing the sides here, do a little bit of cross multiply, and we should be able to figure out what x is. I highly recommend that you have a calculator out and handy dandy. So let's go through this. So let's take a look here, first of all, where x is. Since I'm solving for x, this is where x is. That is side EF. So who's it corresponding, right? Like we have to play this matching game. Take a look. There was 1, 2, 3 markings there for that angle and only one on F. So I want to match it up to the correct side. So I see, hey, there's 1, 2, 3 markings on angle B, and there's only one angle marking on C. So these are the sides that are corresponding. These are the sides that are matching up. So I'm going to go ahead and write my first fraction using these two corresponding sides. Again, I'm still going to go from left to right. You can write 7 over x or x over 7 as long as you're consistent. But for me personally, I like to go from left to right. So I'm going to write 7 over x. 7 over x, and we're going to set that equal to, well, let's go through and compare a different side. I don't want to use y, right? I don't know what y is, so I'm going to be forced to use over here the side from E to D. So again, take a look at what side is that really matching up with. There's 3 angle symbols on E, and there's 2 angle symbols on D. So let's go ahead and correctly identify which side that matches with. Well, this is 1, 2, 3 angles symbols on B, and then there's only 2 at A. So these are the corresponding sides. These are the matching sides. So again, 6 and 4, again, because we went 7 over x for the first fraction, I have to stay consistent. I'm going to say 6 over 4. If I'm using the left triangle first and then the right triangle, I want to keep that consistent. Well, what we have here, guys, is just a cross multiplication problem. Okay, I'm going to cross multiply diagonally here. 6 times x, well, that's just 6x is equal to, 7 times 4 is going to go ahead and give us 28. My pen's not, there it goes. And then one last thing that we have to do here, guys, it's just simply divide both sides by 6. Let me change colors. Divide both sides by 6. Divide both sides by 6. So what is 28 divided by 6? We get 4.66, and it goes on for a while, right? 28 divided by 6 is going to give us a fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it as a fraction, 28 over 6. But I do want to simplify it. If I leave it as a fraction, I do want to simplify it. I'm going to go ahead and simplify here, top and bottom by what goes into 28 and 6. We can say 2. All right, so what is that going to simplify to be? X is equal to 28 divided by 2, that's 14. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So there we have it. X is equal to 14 over 3. Or if you really wanted to give me the decimal, it would be 4.66, and it goes on for a while. Okay, I would prefer the fraction, the simplified fraction. But let's go through, and now kind of reset this problem. Let's go through and reset this problem. Erase a couple of things. This time we're going to go through and we're going to solve here for y. So let me separate my work. We're going to go ahead and solve for y. Okay, so let's play that matching game again. Here is y. So there was 2 markings on angle D, 1 marking on angle F, 2 markings on angle A, only 1 marking on angle C. So these are the corresponding sides, the matching sides. So 8 and y. And again, I'm going to go from left to right. So I'm going to write 8 over y is equal to, and then again, just pick another side and use it to our advantage here. So I already know that this side over here from A to B, right, there was 2 markings. Let's see if I can show that one more time. 2 markings on angle A. There's 2 markings on angle D. There's 3 markings on angle B. There's 3 markings on angle E. So these are the other set of corresponding sides. So 6 and 4, right? I'm going to write that fraction 6 over 4 going from left to right. 6 over 4. Okay, let's just do a little bit of cross multiplication here. 6 times y is 6y. Whoops, that almost looks like a z. 6y is equal to, if I multiply the other way diagonally, cross multiply, 8 times 4 gives me 32. The last thing we're going to do here, guys, is divide both sides by 6. 6 divided by 6 is just 1 or 1y. They cancel out. And that's going to equal 32 divided by 6 is not going to be very nice. It gives me 5.3333. But I do want to simplify that fraction. 32 over 6. Let's go ahead and simplify that fraction. Find a different color here. It looks like I can simplify top and bottom by just 2. So what is this going to be? Y is equal to 32 divided by 2. That gives me 16, I want to say. 16. Spring break really ruined my brain. It's not functioning right now, but we got this. And then 6 divided by 2 is going to give us 3, right? And of course, if you really, really did want to give me that decimal, it would be y is equal to, or y is equal to 5.3333, and it goes on for a while. Again, I would prefer the simplified fraction over the decimal, but there you have it. Okay, example number 2. So this time it's a little bit strange, right? Take a look at the previous one. These triangles were separated. Yeah, sure, one of them was flipped kind of on its side, but now we have these 2 triangles. They are similar. It says solve for x given the 2 similar triangles. They are similar. They're just kind of one is stacked on top of the other and also flipped upside down. So let's take a look and play this matching game. So solve for x. So first of all, where is x in this picture? X is right here. So from C, from C all the way over here to D, that's where X is. So let's go through and play that matching game. Take a look. There's 1 angle symbol on D. There's 1 angle symbol on A. And then there's 3 angle symbols on C. There's also 3 angle symbols on C. So these are the corresponding matching sides, right? So be careful. Biggest mistake that I'll get sometimes is students want to say, oh, X matches up with Y just because they see it up above. No. Be careful. We use those angle symbols to play the matching game. So it's actually 6 and X are the actual units we're going to work with here. Those are the matching sides. So again, it's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you. If you're going to write x over 6, if you're using the bottom triangle and then the top triangle, just make sure you're consistent. I'm going to say 6 over x, though. I'm going to use the top triangle over the bottom triangle. So I'm going to say 6 over x is equal to, and again, let's just play another matching game. It's completely up to you. It's completely up to you. I'm going to go ahead and use, let me see if I can find a different color here. Give me a sec so I can actually tell them apart. I'm going to use here from C, so angle C, there's 3 markings to angle B, so from 3 markings to 2 markings. And so same thing here, C is 3 angle markings to 2 angle markings, angle E, those are the other set of corresponding sides. And again, be careful. I am going to use the 5. I am going to use the 8, but the order does matter. Since I did 6 over x, I'd use the top triangle over the bottom one. I want to use 5 over 8. All right, now it's just a matter of, hey, let's go through and cross multiply. 5 times x well, that's just 5x is equal to 6 times 8, which is 48. If we divide both sides by 5, I don't believe that divides nicely. 5 divided by 5 cancels just to give us x is equal to 48 over 5. That is the value of x. Let's see if I can actually give you guys a decimal real quick. 48 divided by 5. So if you gave me the decimal, you would have said x is equal to 9.6. 9.6. All right, example number 3. It says find the length of segment DG given the two similar triangles. So some of you might be watching this video like, what the heck, there's two triangles? Yeah, there actually is two triangles. So let me talk about that first. They're just overlapping. There's actually a smaller triangle up above here, right? So that smaller triangle. And then you have a much larger triangle. Let's see if I can highlight that in blue. So again, the idea here, guys, is you do have two triangles. So what I would recommend is that we break them apart. We are going to go ahead and break them apart just to get it visually easier for us to kind of work with. All right, so one more time, it says find the length of segment DG. So where's DG? Let me go ahead and put an X there. So from D to G, that's what I'm trying to find. I'm going to go ahead and label that with an X. All right, my unknown, my variable, that's what I want to get. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to break these apart. Okay, I'm going to draw two triangles. I'm going to draw the smaller triangle, right? That's the one that sits. Now, see if I can write small on the inside. So again, just focusing on that small triangle. And then I'm going to make a much larger triangle right next to that. So I'm going to split it apart, and I'm going to go back through and label a couple of things. Okay, so let's start off with the small triangle. So from E to C to D, and then back up to E. So ignore everything else, only focus on this top triangle here. Well, what do I know? Well, I know this side on the left is 20, so let me go ahead and label that 20. And I do know that the side on the right is 28. Okay. I actually don't know the bottom side, right? They don't tell me anything down here, so that's as good as it's going to get. For the small triangle, I only know the left side and the right side, 20 and 28. Let's go through that same process, but let's do it now for the much bigger triangle. So this is where it gets a little bit awkward, all right? So take a look at the much bigger triangle that we have. Take a look at this much bigger triangle that we have. What is the distance? What is the distance this left side? If we're focusing on this left side, what is that entire distance from E to F? The biggest mistake I'll get is students will say 15. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. 15 is only from C to F. I need it from F all the way up here to E. I need this entire length. I don't just need a piece of it. I need that entire length. Well, that entire length here is made up of two smaller pieces. One measures 20 and the other measures 15. So if I just add those together, that should give me the entire distance of the left side of the much larger triangle. Well, what's 15 plus 20? That is going to give us 35. So I'm going to label this 35, right? All I did was I added those two things together. 15 plus 20 gives me 35. I'm going to do the same thing with the right-hand side. I want to know the entire length. Take a look at this one, though. There's two pieces. One of them says 28, the other one says X. It's okay. I'm still going to add these together. I'm still going to go through and add those pieces together. I'm going to say X plus 28. That's what I'm going to label the right-hand side. X, which is what I'm trying to figure out, plus 28. Okay, so that whole process, guys, that whole process was just to go through and split this problem apart, all right? It's a lot easier to work with when you have two figures side by side versus when they're just overlapping each other. Now all we're going to go through and do is play that matching game, set up our proportion, and cross multiply. So take a look. We're going to write 20 over 35, right? Those are the matching corresponding sides. So 20 over 35 is equal to 28 over, and this entire thing, X plus 28. All right, let's go through and cross multiply. And I encourage you to use a calculator. I'm going to be going back and forth trying to use my calculator here. If I cross multiply this way first, 35 times 28. Well, 35 times 28, that gives me 980 is equal to, be careful when you cross multiply the other way though, because you're going to have to multiply 20 times two things here, not just the x, but also the 28. What is 20 times just an x? Well, that's 20x. And then you also have to multiply 20 times 28. I don't know that off the top of my head. So 20 times 28, that gives me positive 560. So be careful whenever you have two terms like an x and a plus 28. You will have to cross, when you cross multiply, you'll have to multiply each part individually. Okay, now it's just a two-step equation. This is going to be a two-step equation. Let me change colors. Let me go ahead and subtract 560 from both sides, minus 560. So 980 minus 560, that gives me 420 is equal to 20x. Last thing we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 20. So 420 divided by 20, that is going to give me 21 is equal to x. That is the value of x. And remember, x right here was the distance from D to G. So line segment DG here is equal to 21. Okay. All right, let's try it one more time. So take a look again. For example, number 4, we're solving for x. Where exactly is x? It's fine, Waldo. It's down here, right? So that's what I'm trying to figure out, x. Unfortunately, we have two triangles that are literally right on top of each other. So let's play that separation game. Let's split them apart. Let's work with the smaller triangle. Right, here's the smaller triangle. Let me try to highlight that one. And then the much bigger triangle, the entire bigger triangle. So let's go ahead and break that apart. So the smaller triangle, see if we can write small in there. And then I'll draw a bigger triangle, right? And let's just go through and label. So let's focus on the smaller one first. Let's focus on this triangle, the small triangle ABC. Well, I know the bottom from A to B was 6, so I'm going to label that 6. And then the right-hand side from C to B is 5. I'm going to label that 5. And then from A to C, I don't know, and it's okay. If we don't know, we're not going to label that. We're going to leave it just blank. All right, let's take a look at the much bigger triangle, though. Right, so now we're taking a look at the whole thing, the entire triangle. Okay, so for this one, take a look at the right-hand side. From E to D, this right-hand side over here, that measures 14. So let me go ahead and write 14. But take a look at the bottom side, right? The bottom side is not just x, right? That's just from B to D. I also have this 6. So in order to get the entire distance of the bottom section, I have to add those two things together, 6 and the x. We're going to go through and add those two things together. So 6 plus x, or x plus 6. I'm going to write it the other way around, x plus 6. That should give us the entire distance for that bottom section of the bigger triangle. And again, do I know the distance from A to E? No, there's nothing there. We're just going to go ahead and leave it blank. Okay, let's go ahead and set up our proportion here. Give me a second to change colors. So let's play that matching game. I'm going to say 5, the right-hand side of 5 here, over the right-hand side of the bigger one, 14, is equal to, I'm going to use the bottom side, 6 over x plus 6, right? And again, this just becomes a cross multiplication problem. So let me go in this direction first. Let me cross multiply 6 and 14. I don't know that off the top of my head. So let me use a calculator. Feel free, I encourage you. 14 times 6, that's going to give me 84, is equal to, and again here, be careful, you're multiplying 5 times two things. So 5 times the x, well, 5 times x is 5x. And then you're also multiplying 5 times positive 6. Well, that gives you positive 30. All right, we're down to a two-step equation. Let's go ahead and subtract 30 from both sides. 84 minus 30 is 54, is equal to 5x. I have one more thing we're going to do here. That's simply just to divide both sides by 5. Okay. 54 divided by 5 doesn't divide nicely, so we're going to leave it as a fraction. 54 over 5 is equal to 5 divided by 5 is just 1 or 1x. So that is our final answer. Or you could have also said if you went through and you divided 54 by 5, you get 10.8.